In this contemporary mythology, I want to highlight the power and necessity of distinctions in resolving insanity and also creating flow and value. This circle represents the earth, and if you ask, is the earth good? The answer is yes. If you ask, is the earth bad? The answer is yes. The power of distinctions is that it as you get into smaller and smaller units of thoughts, of identities, of chemicals, you can be more and more specific at creating both positive and negative results relative to a specific goal. Because you not only need to say, is the earth good, but you need to say good for what? Is the earth good for creating, in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy paradigm, a hyperspace byway? Not particularly. Is the earth good for growing a wide biodiversity of plants and animals? Yes. Is the earth good at creating human beings that don't like to fight and get along well worldwide? No. And yes, it depends on the specific human beings. And so in every quest, in every question that leads to a quest, we're dealing with how distinct is the goal. And so we have distinctions such as time. We have distinctions such as space. We have purpose. We have paradigm. We have value hierarchy. And we have, for example, is the earth good for cleaning? Yes. Is the earth bad for cleaning? Yes. We're not getting any clarity here. If we say, is vinegar good? Yes. Is vinegar bad? Yes. We're not getting any clearer. But if we say, is vinegar good for sweetening a cake? We would have to say no. You see, because it's not just, is it good for making a cake? Is it good for making a cake sweeter? Not typically. Is it good for cleaning something? Yes. They're both part of the earth. Are men good? Are men bad? Yes. Yes. Are men good at keeping their words? Yes. Are men bad at keeping their words? Yes. Is this particular man at this particular time, in this particular situation, good at keeping these types of words? Yes or no? The more distinct you become in your objective, in the time, place, and context, and in what is being asked about, the more clarity you have. Now, the reason I create this so simply is honey good? Yes. Is honey bad? Yes. Is honey good for cleaning? No. Is honey good for accelerating diabetes? Yes. Is diabetes good? No. What about diabetes for Hitler prior to World War II? Maybe so. You see, it's all relative to the time, space, purpose, paradigm, value, hierarchy, and specific item. So one of the biggest problems we have in energy, in dealing with our emotions, in dealing with human beings is a lack of distinction. We try and say that, even though it's perfectly obvious that vinegar is neither good or bad, it's bad for sweetening a cake, it's good for cleaning. If you want to ruin a romantic moment, splashing vinegar all over yourself can ruin the sensory experience of romance. If you don't want to be hit on, that could be good. If you're trying to attract an ardent lover, not so much. It's all contextual. Now we can see that with a specific product, and we can see how crude, how ineffective it is to try and talk globally about something so specific. Can the earth help me for cleaning is not specific enough. If someone says yes, alien comes down, picks up a glass of honey, tries to clean, everything gets sticky, and they say, you're lying. The earth is not good for cleaning. Well, no, not that particular bit of earth. The question wasn't clear enough, and neither was the answer. The same is true with every technology. Is stuff good? Yes. Is it good for meditation? Not typically. If your house is too filled with clutter, it's absorbing. Is it nice to have a house? Yes. But what about a high mortgage house that you don't want to let out because you're attached to it when you want to go traveling? Well, not so much. It's all about learning to flow and learning to understand which specific ingredients, which specific size, because every human being is like an earth. There are old and young personas in every human being. There is the full range of expressions and emotional states in every human being. Even people you consider to be an asshole have moments of profound generosity. Even people you consider to be incredibly generous and kind and spiritual have moments of profound pettiness. It depends on the moment. And if you understand that flow, that value, that empowerment is linked to the sophistication of the distinctions, the distinctions of value, the distinctions of the questions, the distinctions of the answers, and the purpose of the information exchange within a given paradigm. You are now able to accurately anticipate. This wasn't a clear enough question to anticipate any probability of flow. Might luck out, but when you're dealing with human beings, like I've had women tell me, I trust you completely, Dane. And I know I'm in trouble, because these are usually women who have not taken the time to get to know me. And so it's critical to burst that false whitewash over the complexity of all the things that I am and am not that they don't anticipate. And so the easiest way to puncture, this kind of lack of distinction is to say, okay, so in this specific situation, what would you trust that I would do that you trust completely? And they'll say, well, I'm sure you would never do this and you would do this. And then you can say, well, if you've set it up properly to break the facade of absolutes, to take yourself off a pedestal, then you can say, no, I actually did exactly what you assumed I wouldn't do for this reason and this reason and this reason. And then it shatters the simplicity of the absolute, which then you can come into real intimacy. There's no intimacy. You see, when you say, is the earth good for cleaning? Yes. Is the earth bad for cleaning? No. There's no intimacy. There's no acknowledgement that it's specifically this chemical in this concentration that's good for cleaning. It's specifically this chemical in this concentration that is not good for cleaning. And then let's get into the detail of what we're cleaning. For what purpose? At what time? Are you cleaning in the rain? Is it your Porsche? Are you cleaning a wood floor? As you get into these distinctions, the entire possibility field of reality just opens up. It's a kingdom of wealth and possibility. And the treasure chest inside each one of us is very similar. When you say, do you like that guy? Yes. Do you think that guy is a little bit of a dick? Yes, it's the same guy. Do you want to have sex with that guy? Maybe. Do you want to have sex with that guy? Maybe not. You can't do anything with that. But when you can say that my 14-year-old who has a fantasy of the tall, dark, and handsome stranger likes that guy. My 20-year-old who's been burned by tall, dark, handsome strangers can't stand that guy. My 30-year-old who has realized things are a little bit more complex says, maybe. And the thing to do is to ask this and this that we don't know. And my 40-year-old says, enough about men. You need to be focusing on your meditative practice. And when you can see the answers of each different facet within you as a human being, and look at the pattern overall, the overall pattern of your life, and say, yes, I love ice cream. It's just not the thing that's going to help me lose 5 pounds this month. And since I've been gaining weight for the last 5 years, losing the 5 pounds in this context is going to be more valuable to me than the pleasure hit. And so I don't like ice cream in this context. I love ice cream, but not in this context. And this process of viewing things in more and more nuance, this paradigm that basically the more distinctions in consciousness that you bring into the equation, the more intelligent can be your behavior, and the more intelligently you can relate to the people around you. This creates success. It creates safety. It creates certainty. In other words, when things are surprising you, when you are missing opportunities because of absolutes standing as a barrier to intimacy, when you are thinking in terms of good and bad without nuanced context, you will have pain, you will have failure, you will be shocked, you will be surprised, you will not have resources. If you can take those absolute thought structures and break them down atom by atom by atom into enough distinction so that you can see an entire planet and be aiming specifically at a certain kind of salt water. And you can say there's only one place for that kind of salt water, and it's the Red Sea. And it'll be in position at this moment in time. So if you swoop down and gather there is enough for 10,000 gallons of Red Sea salt water, and you will succeed. But if you just say, is there salt water on Earth? And you hear yes, and you dive down in most of the Earth, you're not going to get that exact concentration of salt water. You're going to fail. If you say, am I a good person? Do I have any energy? You may fail. But if you find a very specific persona in you that is highly motivated to create a certain type of experience, and if you find the very specific part of you that is highly valuable to another human being, let's say you're the greatest concert pianist, let's say you are a brain surgeon, they're not interested in having sex with you. They're not interested in talking with you. They're not interested in going to tea with you. They're not interested in your garden. But they will pay you $10 million to perform brain surgery on their father right now. It's when you get into the specialty, the distinct talent, and you communicate that specialty effectively, that's when you create a release of an extraordinary amount of abundance that is inside. In other words, there is more energy on this planet alone than we can possibly consume in 1,000,000 years. Except we're not going to be able to consume it as crudely as we have become accustomed to consuming it. Meaning we can't clear cut and burn 10,000 acres of a rainforest and then sow grass seed and have cattle graze there for a couple of years and then have that go barren to get a few pounds of hamburger and sustainably live on this planet. That is too crude an approach. But if you take this specific gene and enzyme from this particular mushroom and put it in a culture of this particular vat of water, you can grow the protein and nutrients to feed 1,000,000 cattle in your backyard. And you don't need to cut down the rainforest. You see, it's about sophistication of distinction in thought, in emotion, and in matter. As we create nuance, distinction, which is a form of intimacy, into me you see, into the planet you see, as you curate with intimacy, there is so much energy in every single atom that can be released. It just requires distinction.